going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Sound a little bit hoarse because of the whiteout, but I'm gonna try to get through this video. It might be kind of rough, but we're gonna be talking about the Jets and the Avs so far through the first two games, and what the Jets can do to get back in the win column. Obviously, the Avalanche tying up the game; they were the better team in Game 2. Alexander Georgiev played a pretty solid game, and the Jets fall 5-2 the final. Now, I felt pretty good about the Jets game through the first half of Game 2, especially the first period. I thought that David Gustafsson scoring early on was a big boost, and it felt really good, right? The depth scoring getting, in early on and often. I thought that was a great touch. Jets were peppering Georgiev early, but he was up to the task this time. Very different from Game 1, where it felt like anything you throw at the net was going in. So he was, definitely more on the ball, and good for him, Got to feel for the guy a little bit, but it was a very good period for the Jets in the first. Avalanche started to turn it on right at the end of the first period, and it carried into the second. Miles Wood scoring to tie up the game. Later on, Mark Scheifele would go on and score a beautiful tip-in goal, to make this another 2-1 game, and it really felt like that was going to be it right there. It really felt like the Jets were going to, take over at this point, and it was kind of the opposite. They fell asleep, and then by the end of the period, they let in 3 goals from the Colorado Avalanche, and it was a 4-2 hockey game at the end of the second, and a lot went wrong. Game ends on a empty netter by Valeri Nichushkin. The Jets were pressing at the end of the game, but unable to beat Georgiev. Very good defensive game by the Avalanche. Later on into the third, lots of block shots, just really good positioning, and the Jets couldn't really do a whole lot, and that was kind of the problem in the back half of the game, and it's something that has to change going forward here. And I'm not saying that, there's one particular guy or a line that's really dragging this team or anything like that. They're just kind of stale, I'll say, right? That's kind of how it felt in Game 2. Even in the first period when the Jets were rolling a little bit, it felt like something was off, something was disconnecting, and it felt like Colorado had a lot of success in the second half of the game against really every line. I don't think anybody really had a strong night. It wasn't like a bitterly miserable night either. They just didn't do a whole lot, to produce goals, and we saw that. Only 2 goals on the night. They were very nice and everything, but we're going to need more to beat one of the best offensive teams in the Colorado Avalanche. They're a very good team, and they're here for a reason. They're no pushovers, right? So that's just my thoughts on, what I observed anyway from the forward core. Now, if we talk about the defense, I think that the Jets defense has a problem moving the puck. I don't think that's a secret. I don't think that's a hot take or anything like that. Their puck moving ability and their defensive zone is really hurting them because they're kind of just getting stuck in their own end, flipping it off the boards. How many times have we seen Neil Pionk chip it off the boards and it's kept in by an Avalanche player and they get an offensive cycle in our own zone, right? We see it a lot. So that is a big problem. The puck moving needs to be better, more decisive, getting out of the zone. Colorado makes it hard. They're a good forechecking team, but the Jets got to figure it out, because if they don't, we're going to be spending a whole lot more time in the defensive zone, and that needs to change very quickly. The Avs are a very good rush offense team, and when the Jets are forechecking down low and they get caught, down low just finishing their check or whatever, it is a big problem. We saw that a lot in Game 1, not so much in Game 2, but it is still an issue. You cannot give rush chances to Nathan MacKinnon, Mikko Rantanen, Cale Makar, list goes on. You cannot do it. This is a ferocious offensive team. You can't just let them do that to you. You can't just hand that over to them. So I really hope that, guys such as Neil Pionk and Logan Stanley that aren't very good off the rush are just, maybe a little bit more aware of the situation. Maybe they can play it a little bit different. But Stanley, the biggest problem is his speed, right? He just can't do it. He's not fast enough to defend off the rush. I'm not sure if he's the best guy for this series, if you want my honest opinion. I know he won the spot at the end of the regular season. He played very well, and I don't think he had a too bad of a game in Game 1, but Game 2, I don't know, he kind of got exposed a little bit, just looks slow out there, and I wonder if a guy like Nate Schmidt or Colin Miller might be a better fit, just a better puck mover in general. So, I don't know, we'll see going forward. I'm not gonna, complain about the lines or pairings or anything like that, because I don't think that anybody played particularly well, in a full scope of a game, but is what it is. Maybe we shuffle some lines a little bit. Maybe we just change some of you know, our systems. We just adjust. I don't know. I think that's probably more likely. The theme of this series seems to be mistakes, and it seems like the team that makes more mistakes, you know, loses the hockey game, and that's usually how hockey goes. But in the playoffs, mistakes are magnified. Everybody's good. There's no slouches. Nobody's missing their opportunities, so you got to make the most of them. But yeah, so we'll see what happens going forward here. We've got a tie series 1-1. Game 1 was an absolute mess and an outlier for both teams, and then Game 2 was a tale of, you know, 2 games, really. I think the Jets played really good in the first half. Second half, not so much. That needs to get cleaned up. They kind of reverted back to how they were playing in Game 1 in the back half of the second there, and they were never able to recover. But really, I think everybody needs to pump the brakes. I'm seeing a lot of panic about, oh, here we go, Jets are going to lose in 5 now, and I just don't get it, guys. Like, let's just calm down. We obviously weren't going to win every single game here. You know, this is one of the best teams in the NHL, best offensive teams in the NHL, and the Jets are keeping pace with them pretty well, I'd say. So, got to clean up the mistakes, got to lock in here, and I think the Jets are going to be coming out firing in Game 3. But yeah, so we'll see what happens going into Colorado, but at the end of the day, everybody for the Jets needs to be better. Colorado looked like an experienced team. They look like they know how to, you know, deal with those situations, and it really showed that, you know, hey, these guys are no pushovers. Obviously, some of the best players in the world on that team, but I still think the Jets can beat this team. I still think that they can win this series, and you know, it's now a best of 5. We'll see, but I still have the Jets winning this series. That's all I got today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a comment down below what you guys think about the series so far and your predictions going forward. I want to hear them down below, and leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. See you guys in the next one. Go Jets, go. Bye-bye.